going to wait for you to send me your Denver, Colorado license request. So what typically happens is that you have another state, you're going to get on their ed department page, just like we have the Department of Iowa education page. You're going to go to Colorado. They're going to have a form that you fill out. Now, a lot of them are not electronic, but there are a few out there that now are electronic. They're moving up. And so you will print that off, fill out what you need to do, and then you'll shoot it to me. That may be that you hand deliver it to me. That may be that you send it to me in an email, and then I put it in your file so I know when I'm going to do licensure, oh, I see they also want a Colorado one, so I'm going to look for that. If it's not there, I'm not going to do anything until I receive it. So even if you think, maybe Colorado, maybe Minnesota, you can go ahead and put it. I'm not going to harass you about it unless I know, like, I know they have a job in Colorado, and they have not talked to me about getting a license. I don't get real excited, though, because there are states where you don't have to have a license. So, for example, if you're teaching in a charter school in Colorado, you don't have to have a license typically. Just an Iowa one will do. You can bring that along. Okay. Okay, and I'll say this too many times, but please listen to this. No matter where you think you're going to end up in the world, please, please get your Iowa license. Okay? Because what happens if you don't? If you come to me and say, I hate Iowa, I've lived here all my life and I want out of this place, I'm going to Colorado and I'm going to live there forever. So here's my application for Colorado license. What happens is that if you, for some reason, decide Colorado is not the place for you and you come back to Iowa, if we've added anything or changed anything in our program, including praxis tests or courses, you have to take that and then before you can get your Iowa license. So please, please just go ahead and get it. You can let it go and it basically kind of lays dormant and then you can activate it again if you come back, but it's much easier. We had one gal who did that from Florida. She said, you're going to really hate me because both my parents were teachers and they said to me, get your Iowa license, right? And she didn't, and 13 years later, she's coming back and she had to take, I can't remember how many classes in the music program to get caught up. So that can happen, so please do that. This is your exit ticket today, okay? So if you want to be working on it, great. We will double check your scores for your praxis exam, but if you have that and can fill that out, that'd be great. Any questions over that form? Okay, if you guys in the back want to pull up on the student teaching page, they're under licensure meeting. This PowerPoint there, follow along with it. That being said, you can look at it later as well. This is put up. This is done by the state, and they put it out for us to share with you. Okay, and so this is kind of your guide sheet for when you get on the BOEE to do your licensure application. Okay, a couple things. In the past, what has happened is they have said that if you pay and then you don't graduate and it goes into a new year, they will not refund your money. So I would wait until you're in that student teaching or last semester at Wartburg to apply. Okay, but it's totally up to you to do it. Question? No? Okay. It's totally up to you how you want to do it, but just be aware that we've had some issues. Last year we had a couple students who got a little eager, and even though we had said that, they missed it in the meeting. And so getting their money was a little tricky, and I'm not sure if they got it. But it gets expensive, so be careful about that. And you can do a lot of it before you pay. So you could put your information in and then wait to pay when you're pretty sure. Okay, so let's go through the PowerPoint a little bit. The first one that they talk about is you have to, how many of you have a coaching endorsement license now? Okay, so you first click apply for or renew my license. Okay, so technically you guys have a license, so keep that in mind as we talk about this. If this is your first time that you have ever applied in this system after March 18, 2019, click I agree, create an account. Is that everybody who has a license? When did you get your coaching? This summer, so you'd be all right. Or you have it in your, you're already got it, and do you know your folder number? You can get your folder number. Yeah, okay, very good. So when you do this, make sure you have your folder number, because then if you already are in the system, what's going to happen is that they're going to ask for your folder number, okay? So you have two different areas that you can apply for. And so if you've applied or set up an account in this new system, click I agree and continue to log on. But most of you, right, are going to put I agree, create an account. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Thank you for the head nods. Doing a head, thank you. So again, same thing, okay, that you just agree and continue to log on for those of you who already have an account in this system, okay? Just so you know, it was a different system. This is a brand new system. We had that other one a very long time, for 2 years. So who knows how long this one's going to be around, right? So, but this is the new system. So again, it could get a little clunky if you're a little unsure which system you applied under. But you can always email the state, or once you get on, if it's not working, you can email them as well. So log in, already have an account. It gives you the directions step by step. A couple things to point out, if you attempt an incorrect password too many times, your account will be locked and you will need to contact the BOEE office. I'm just going to say this has happened to me on occasion. So it might be best if you wrote it down somewhere and you had it so that you had that information right there. If you saw my computer, you see that's where I write most of my passwords. Okay, so if you choose I agree, create an account, that's the majority of you, right? So then basically you're going to do the same thing. You're going to they're going to talk to you about the issued a folder number. Have you ever been issued a folder number and the license of any kind from the Iowa BOEE examiners? And you're going to create, you're going to create an existing account using an existing folder number. Okay, so for those of you with coaching, this may impact you. You're going to log in. You don't want to have 2 accounts. So again, if you're unsure, make sure you contact the BOEE. It's not a huge deal. Either way, if you goof up, you contact the BOEE. They're going to clean one up and they're going to let you apply for the other. But try not to be a pain to them. And then create an account, existing folder number. Next slide. So existing folder number continued. Again, it's going to walk you through some of these just basic questions to get you logged on. Okay. So if the contact information is you, click yes. If it's not you, click no. Okay. So again, you don't want to get into somebody else's account and mess it up. And they do give you the contact, Jeff. I don't know him personally, but I definitely know him through email. So he's the person to contact. I had some people who applied in both accounts, even though we didn't introduce his account. Some people managed to apply in both accounts. So something to remember. Thank you. So something to remember that Jeff is the person that you want to talk to. Okay, so create an account. New to the BOEE. Again, that's most of you. You don't have a folder number yet. That folder number is important to you as an educator, and you'll want to keep that handy. Just make a file, put it in there, so you can pull it out and look at it when you're applying for anything additional. Complete all the information, and then please review it carefully. They ask you, because if you make an error, then you got to go back and edit and those types of things. And it can cause some issues with your future applications. So again, if you have a nickname, right, remember that you're going to be putting in your what's on your birth certificate to make sure everything is aligned there. You also want to make sure your email is not your Wartburg email. Or if you have a job by this time, do not make it your job email, because I have teachers who have done this, and then they're like, well, I'm not at that job anymore. I'm like, well, contact the BOEE and get your email address changed. So you just want to make sure that you do those things. everything else is pretty self-explanatory. An email will be sent to the address provided. So again, you want to make sure that it's one that you use regularly. Click the link in the email to set up your new password and start your account. If you goofed up your password, there's a place to do that as well. This is all second stuff to you guys, though. They talk about your password as well. A request for a password will be sent to the email provided. So remember to make sure that's the right email. Okay, you are now logged into the application system. You're going to click the new application or renew to start an application. Okay, so this looks similar to what I see on my end to give you your license. You will have a few screens of verifying your demographics information. If all is correct, click on the next button. This should all be okay if this is your first application ever. Okay, so you're going to hit the little next button down there. If you need to make a change, click the no button, and then you can make those changes. Okay, and then when we look at this page, you're looking at if you need to choose what you will be applying for. What are you applying for? What license? You know what it's called? Okay, so this is confusing, I think. They say you will be choosing apply for a new license, then click next. What your license is called is the initial license. So you're going to see lots of different choices as you go forward. Just remember that yours is called the initial license. Okay, and then you're going to use the pull down menu to choose the category of a license that you will be applying for. Again, that's that initial license. You're going to hit next and use the pull down menu again to choose the type of application. In this case, the first Iowa teaching counseling, blah, blah, blah. If you're the first Iowa teaching, right? License is what you're getting. And then brief instructions will outline what you will be required to do and the necessary fees. And so you'll be going through those as well. And then your application has been generated. Click Finish to complete the setup and begin the application. Okay, so I have a question. Oh, yep.
Okay, so I'm clicking, or I'm just like looking through this, and it says new temporary initial license testing not met. So you click a different one if you pass the praxis, right? Is that what that means?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
So then it would be first year intern license, or?
It's not teacher intern, and it's not if you didn't pass.
Is she on this side?
Yeah, I'm on that site.
What are the options?
It says new temporary initial license or first Iowa teaching, counseling, or Class G license. First Iowa teaching license. So it's that one?
Teaching license. Yeah, that's the one I just went over. So that's the one you're going to choose first Iowa teaching license, and then it continues on, right? It says counseling and Class G or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I just want to make sure I write down the right thing.
Yep. Very good. And you can go back to this PowerPoint to and walk yourself through it. Do it as a group. That might be
okay. Good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, very good. You will see some general requirements and necessary fees, and if reviewing and decided if you choose the incorrect application, you may click the withdraw application. Okay, so if you make an error. Now here is a little bit of the other issue is that if you didn't apply for the right license, again, they were keeping your money last time. So again, you want to make sure you have that initial license that you're applying for. And then as you respond to each of the checklist questions, click the Save and Next button as you go through. And in some sections, your response may open another text box for you to provide more information in your application. I'm trying to... So this one talks about if you've ever been convicted of any crime. Okay, so, and it tells you, you may exclude violations such as parking, speeding, failure to obey a traffic control device, those types of things. But if you've been in any accident and you've been issued a ticket, you have to put that information in here. If you've gotten a minor in possession or an OWI, all that information goes in here. We used to collect it all and have to mail it into them. The BOEE is getting more particular about this. In the past, we've had students with OWIs and they still were able to get a license, even though they had multiple OWIs. So just be aware, you have to be honest here. Because if they find out that you are not honest, that's when it becomes a bigger issue than if you are totally honest on there. Okay, so they can take your license for not being honest in this section. So just for, some students have asked me questions like, oh, I was in this accident and I did get a ticket because I didn't yield or whatever. I mean, good golly, 4 years ago, that's out of my mind, right? So just think back to, since you were 18, was there anything that you need to add there? Okay, minor in possessions, that's not gonna, I mean, you have to put it on there, but it's not a thing that's gonna stop you from getting a license. So don't get worked up about, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna get a license for those things. But, and they're looking for felonies. You cannot have a felony and be a teacher. If that's you, you should talk to us after class. So, we'll try not to express.
Switch my major quick.
Yeah. You could be a politician.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if you have never applied or held a license with the BOEE, let's see, did I go too far back? Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. So check no and choose the way that you will submit your fingerprints. Okay, so you have to decide. They will mail you the card and then you can go get your fingerprints done. Okay, so somewhere, a lot of local police stations will do it for you. It's not a big thing right now in Iowa anyway. Hawaii is a little different. So is Colorado. They have one place in Colorado to get your fingerprints done because the police have decided they are done with this. So we might be going that way someday, but right now you can still get yours sent to you, and then you have to send those. You can also go into in Des Moines and get them done at the Department of Ed. And they're pretty quick turnaround. Otherwise, it's a 6-week turnaround. So if you decide to apply for your license in May, and you get your fingerprints, you get them done, and you turn them in, and then you contact me in June and say, Kelly, I still haven't gotten my license. And I say, well, you're not popping up on my screen yet. It could be that you have not had your fingerprints processed yet. So apply at least 6 weeks before graduation, okay?
And I will add to that Kelly is not contracted to be working in June or July. So just do it ahead so that she can do a batch when she actually is contracted to work. So, and just be aware that if you do send an email July 4th, or 5th, you may not hear back for a couple weeks because we're officially not contracted during that time.
And I try to keep up with it, but if I go on vacation, truly I'm not going to keep up with it because I've already done what I've been paid to do, which is to go through the batch. But I will tell you it's problematic. A lot of times in the summer, I'm in every week trying to get a licensure thing figured out. So please try your best. I know some of them we can't. You can't prevent it, and I can't prevent it, but try your best to get that done. So like I had some this summer that were praxis scores. So they were exciting times because they were coming in and they were passed. So it was exciting, right? So that can happen to some students, and I get that, but then you have to be a little bit patient about getting your license as well, because I won't be in here every day. So, okay.
Got a question?
Yep.
Yeah. So if you've gotten your coaching authorization already, you don't need to redo that background check then, or?
Did you do your fingerprints?
Yeah.
How long are they good for? Do you remember?
Should be okay on this initial
I
license.
think, yeah, and then I think you may have to get them again at some point. But if I was you, just contact the BOEE and say, this is the date I got them. When do I need them by? To be sure.
Going to my coaching class, so he didn't have to get fingerprinted, but he still had to pay for like an updated background check.
An updated background check, yeah.
So I don't know exactly if he paid the same amount.
Yeah, before you pay, I'd reach out to the BOEE and just ask what they would like you to do. That's a good question. Let's see. So many of the applications will require documents to be uploaded. So it's really strange to me that you don't have to upload your transcript. But if you're applying for an additional endorsement, you have to. So you'll just have to follow the directions for you, but make sure you read everything so you know what you have to do and what you don't have to do. Let's see if I need to do any more of this. So yeah, I don't think that you guys will have to worry about that. So the review of application, the areas where the system will check to make sure that you have all the required boxes checked and the documents if needed. In addition, you will send out any electronic verification forms you need. So I have not done this side of it yet. Sometimes I'll see it through a student, but I haven't done this side of it. But the last one was it was checked off and you could tell you met everything. It wouldn't let you go forward if you hadn't. Okay. Are you guys not in the student teaching? Are they not in the student teaching one? So if I send it to Nikki and Scott, I invited them to this meeting, but I don't think they're here. What's that? Okay. So yeah, I'm glad to, is the best way to do that to send it to Nikki and Scott and share it, or just have Leanna send it in an email to music student teachers? Okay, either one, perfect. We'll have that sent out. Yep.
With the endorsement thing, is that re-endorsement, not just like the ones that you said there's one that you qualify for state if you don't take all the classes here, that's any endorsement, right? For documentation.
So I'm not quite sure.
So you said you need to, if you're applying for an additional endorsement, you need to upload your transcript, right? And
So that is for when you graduate.
Okay.
And you want to get an additional endorsement later.
Oh,
So
okay.
sorry for that confusion, yeah. It's hard for me to believe they don't need your transcript, but I keep saying that, like, well, they're good, because we used to have to mail them all in. So, but they're trusting the institution saying, yes, if you have them graduate, then it will happen, so. Okay, and then click the next button to proceed as they keep telling you, you are now ready to pay your fees and submit your application. So choose the fees that you are wanting to pay. All fees for the specific application must be paid for the application to be submitted. So what that means, if you've done everything and you haven't paid your fees, I can't see it. Okay, so I can't tell on my end. Now I will tell you, last year I went through, right before graduation, I went through to see if I was missing anybody, and I emailed those people saying, I still don't see you on my side, just giving you a heads up. Some were like, I know, I'm working on getting some money. A few were like, I know, they've sent me screenshots that they paid and everything. So there was something in the BOEE system that they weren't showing up. So I had them contact the BOEE, and then they would pop into my box. And then that way, when you graduate, what happens is you walk across the stage, right? And then we need a few days to get your grades all done before we can get your transcripts. The registrar office typically does us first, okay, but that takes them 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so we're already at the end of May, so often it's close to the end of June before you will see that license. And so truly, you're welcome to contact me, but I get a lot of them, and I will just send you a nice little short email back saying, remember, it will be towards the end of June, right? Or I've already completed licensure and you should see it. The few that goofed up and did it in this system, this time. They didn't get their license because I didn't see them in the system I was working out of. And then the state said to me, well, why don't you go ahead and unlicense them in this system? So I went in and did it, and they got it within 24 hours as soon as I did it. So I'm hoping it stays the same. So if you haven't seen it by July 1st, and I haven't contacted you for some reason, you might just shoot me an email. I had a couple that had done everything, I'd done everything, and it took a couple weeks. So I have no idea why. They were caught up in the system. So. It talks a little bit about locating your folder number, where that's going to be. Again, you want to write that down and keep it. That's going to be important to you as you go forward. Okay, so that's when it comes to me, and then I get to recommend you. Okay, I know it's so much information. I will definitely share this PowerPoint with, I would have printed it off, sorry, I didn't realize that you guys weren't in there. But I will definitely send it to music, and we'll get that shared with you so that you have it, you can keep it. What questions do you have? This is a good time to ask them in the whole group, because many of you will come to me afterwards and it'll be the same question that everybody has. So.
If we don't have our scores back yet, do we just
leave them blank?
Okay.
Yes, just leave them blank, and we'll actually have Leanna go in and
Okay.
fill them in. So. Nope, not a problem. I can't do anything until you send me the application for it. It's just more to make me aware that you're thinking you might do that. What did I miss? I talked way too much.
What would be your recommendation? Like, should they go through right now all this and like start an account? And would you say do that, or would you say hold off a little bit?
I would wait a little bit. I would probably do it unless you're graduating in December, I would wait and probably do it in like January, February, like things are looking like, you know, you are going to be graduating at this time. Music therapy, you're a little bit different, right? You're probably going to wait another semester if you're doing your internship. So you just want to make sure that you're aware of that.
And you cannot begin teaching without a license.
Oh, thank you for saying that. We have had that happen before, and I'm going to tell you that you can lose your license if you do that, and you can get the school district in big trouble if you do that. So it's the school district's fault. They should be asking you for your license. But if you're sitting in a workshop and I have to call you and say, what are you doing? That's not a good sign. So please don't do that. But you do have to have a license, and school districts can get in huge trouble if you don't do that. And I'm just going to say that if they still have a job for you after you do that to them, they're very nice people, because I would probably be done. I'd be like, oh, we are finding a new person for this. Okay, so keep that in mind. They did just recently pass. If you have not passed the praxis, right, and I know most of you have, but some of you are close, right? You're teetering on that edge, and then we like to add this stress to it, right, which doesn't help. But if you haven't, they have now, you can apply for a 1-year teaching license where you can teach a year, and then you can work on passing the praxis. That won't add any stress to you, I'm sure.
And
no sarcasm.
The principal has to assure the state that they've done a search and
Yes.
they cannot find another candidate. And so it's not an automatic. The district has to be involved as well, but that is their last option.
Yeah, you'll be talking to your district, and then they will be filling out stuff, and you will be filling out stuff that will come to us, and we'll put our stamp on it. And then you will have to get that praxis passed in the next year.
Where do we find our test numbers, or do you have that?
So we
like,
do.
or not the scores, like the actual number of the test.
I don't have it with me, but it's definitely on those cards that you took, or on your test scores that you received back. They should be on there. Yep.
If you go to my
It's not
practice,
so
it has like literally everything, and you download the PDF of like every practice.
Yeah, and if not,
Do you know where on the report it's at?
I think it's at the
just right
top.
next to the
Right
title
above the
of
test.
classes. Emily, you want to show her real quick? Perfect. What other questions do you have?
Oh, that's your social security.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, thank you.
So I will tell you that they